Choice of an apple or raspberry and custard pie for just $4.
Shaky at times, but that is the start that Order are looking for. And the boys alluded to it. I think it says a lot about the team that there were some nerves on display and they managed to bounce back from a deficit and take out the first win.
Yeah, that to me, like speaking frankly, is not the game that Order should have won. Just from the way that they were playing when you look at those nerves that you're highlighting. Because like even in those replays, you would have seen, I'm going to say at least 15 total moments where a target was missed with a skill shot that just should connect in any other game. And that's significant, right?
And we're talking about the sitters. We're not talking about like, like this guy was hit by something and like he changed his position. This is like a guy's coming out of GA and 3 people missed time.
Yeah, totally.
A guy's coming out of Zhonya's and like 2 people missed time.
Yeah.
Dream died in one of those team fights because Wilder went into GA in a brush. They didn't drop a ward or anything to get vision. Dream mistimed his zap, which would have killed Wilder out of GA, had to walk forward into the brush to re-get vision when Spooks is there as well, and Spooks should be in the brush, and then Syndra just one-hits him, right? So there were so many moments in this game where you could just tell that they're, like, both sides, like, we're saying it heavily from Order side, but definitely on the other side as well, like Roma getting caught out late game, which doesn't normally happen. Like, this is just one of those situations where you can tell how much it means for both of these teams, and there is such a rivalry brewing between Order and the Bombers.
And it's very easy to say this coming into today as a viewer. Order 3-0 against Bombers in the regular season, like, is Kryptonite a thing? It's not. But what is a thing is you've only ever lost to Order. So, like, that actually does affect
the
your
mentality
nerves.
side.
Yeah.
As I said, I don't think we've beaten them in the same way. I don't think Order has beaten Bombers in the same way in all 4 games. I think it's been different. But when it keeps happening, you're like, there must be something there, right?
And what is that thing? What is the thing about the Order Bombers matchup that makes everyone go, oh no, Order probably have this?
So from our perspective, we get very hyped playing Bombers. We felt like if we had played Bombers on the Sunday after Gauntlet last split, we would have been in with a fighting chance. Obviously, when you have like Volkan and FBI on that team, like you can never have it. And then there was a lot of shit talk on Twitter. And a lot of the Order players like took it pretty personally. I can tell you from being inside the camp. And like now they try and play like the perfect unified team game. It is personal between Order and Bombers just because of how disastrously last grand final went. And Bombers whooped our ass. Like, to call a spade, like they turret dove us. I always say this. They turret dove us at level 2 bottom lane and the series was over from there. Like it was a 3-minute series in reality. Game 3 of that series, we started the game with 3 kills and they still were managed to like absolutely destroy us, right? So there is certainly like personal stuff there for Order that they really enjoy playing this team.
And it's hard to speak for exactly what it is for Bombers, right? But I think we should actually like look at this first game's draft as an example of what it may be. Because this is something that like we should all have experience with here, being with teams in the past, if not currently, where like you're drafting for an opponent, you've watched them play 5 games, you're like, okay, like it worked for Direwolves, they won banning these champions. So we're going to ban these champions because that's a clear recipe. But like what you haven't considered is that the best for us? Like, is that actually the best thing? Or is it just the Direwolves can't play against it? Now you've like second guessed yourself with draft. You've picked yourself, I would say, a very weird composition in this game. The choice of going for the Sonatam Kench, seeing the Jinx against you, like actually does bottleneck you a lot. And maybe it is that Luch can only play mages.
Sonatam Kench doesn't make sense with Syndra. Sonatam Kench Aatrox is actually a sick composition. Like there is like, I think they were talking about it on broadcast, but you hit R on Aatrox, especially at level 11 and 16. Sona heals you, you go to full health over and over again because Aatrox's ult gives you amplified healing from all healing in the game, right? So then Order has to buy all these like mortal reminders and stuff like that. If you have an Aurelia, if you have an Azir, if you have any consistent
like
damage
in
source,
your jungle as well,
you are able to really stick in those fights. The problem is that they didn't replace Sona's role. Is normally a traditional marksman or a Cassiopeia or a Vlad, which is all consistent damage. Sona doesn't provide that. She provides a lot of utility. So you need to replace that consistent damage somewhere. And the confusing thing for me is Tommy plays all the consistent damage mages. Like he's a god, Azir, Ryze, like you just keep going through Vladimir, all these champions, he plays to a really high level. So I think it was a wonky composition, but in saying that, they were still 7,000 gold and 2 Barons up in this game. Like they should have closed out this game, like regardless of comp. They're just that good as a player.
Yeah, and there's actually like a lot of things to talk about within the game itself as to why they're able to get those leads. One of them is the fact they have double gold generation bot laners, which actually doubles your ward count. And something that isn't often spoken about in a competitive game with this is residual wards on a weak side lane. So what I mean by that...
Yeah, please, because I'm lost.
That would have just eyes glazed over with Dick for a second there. Is you've got 8 wards in your bottom lane, maybe 6 wards as a minimum, right? You've placed all the vision down, and now you're swapping lanes to the opposite side of the map. What you still have is for the weak person now, or the weak side player, the top laner that switched down there, is at least 3 wards sitting down there for you. Right?
So we always call it the zigzag, right? So for people at home to really easily set this up, generally in the mid game, your solo laners go to the side lanes because they're best equipped to deal with the long lanes, and your jungle, AD carry, and support become a trio. And generally what you do, if you want to play for Baron, which is on the top side of the map, you push out one wave of mid, you go get your bottom lane, what we call weak side wards. These are the real safe wards that can't be swept easily. Then you go push another lane of mid, and you go get your strong side wards, which are your wards around Baron. These are the wards that you want to fight on. Most of the time, they're the ones in the brushes, they're the pinks, they're the ones that deny vision. Your weak side wards can be anywhere. They're just trying to catch people in transit in case they try and gank your weak side. While you're going there, they can back off, they can get good teleports and things like that, right? So, but what 2 warding triggers does is you can just treat both sides of your map as strong sides, and we saw this all the time. And then you catch people on transition much earlier, and then you can kill those people. And I think Swiffer died to it 3 times. It looked like they were playing around the Aatrox. All of a sudden, top side of the map, Swiffer just gets kicked by Lee Sin. Dead. Happened like 3 times in a row. Got Bombers a huge lead.
And they go from basically an even game state to having up to 5,000 gold. 2 people suddenly die, right? They're able to break mid lane, Braum dies, and Syndra dies. And Zoe dies, Swiffer, and that's Baron. And like that was the thing that actually gave Bombers the lead in this game, where I don't think their composition was very good overall. Could be improved. They still played very good League of Legends to generate those leads, and where they faltered was the team fights.
So you were saying, because we're about to head into game number 2, you were saying that with the team comp, a little weird, you weren't quite sure what Bombers were going for, and there was some talk about the idea of being a bit reactive to the Direwolves comp yesterday. What do Bombers do for game 2? Do they like double down on that strat? Are they looking for something where it's like, let's just play to our strengths and kind of ignore learnings that we think we have?
I think what Spawn mentioned before is probably the correct thing. The Syndra in mid lane, to me, very high priority champion, definitely strong, but you can beat that. And what does beat that? You know, Gragas Yasuo is a very good way of doing that. And I think that's exactly in the wheelhouse of the Bombers.
If you have Gragas Yasuo, Aatrox, top side of the map with a Sona, Tarmkanch, you got a very good composition.
So for me, it's mid jungle. I think that's where it'll change.
Alrighty, well, we're about to find out because it is time for game number 2, and it is time for the Macca's Champ Select.
Thank you, Nick Boy. Yeah, getting into game 2, Order have picked the blue side, so we will have a side swap up in this one. Yeah, no swaps. And yeah, we'll see if Bombers can take their first game against Order and whether this is just a sweep. Because do you think this is possible that we just see like an Order sweep right here? You know, just a 6-0 over the split?
Nah.
No?
Surely not.
Because it feels like
Surely
Bombers
not.
get so clear. It's just like, how do you not lose? Like, how do you lose that game, like, as Bombers? You know? And he was like, literally, how is that possible? We're on 3rd Baron, Bombers pick it up, and you're like, it's game. And then you pan down, and it's just like Dragon being taken. We didn't even see how that 1v1 was happening between the 2 mid laners.
Yeah.
And it was just like, how was this happening? How was this happening in enemy jungle right now where Swift has just managed to find Ryoma? You know, it's just those strange circumstances they managed to break open, you know, forced by Order. And it seems like every single time it happens, but we'll see.
That's the thing, right? Like every single time, like some team like ends up going in for that. Like, whereas it's like, I think Soul Strikes has the Bombers lineup and the team like trajectory coming into this one into the right place. Like, yes, let's play structured, right? Like, let's pick like standard team compositions. Let's slow the game down. And that's the thing, right? If this is like a 3-0 at the end of the day, like Order just wash, then all of a sudden nobody talks about game 1 and like the shaky start. But that was like a very shaky start, right? Like, and that will just be rewritten. But now here flip sides, game number 2, Bombers, the players right now, fresh in their minds is exactly what happened. If they can replicate with 1 less mistake, that's a relatively clean game, right? Like that's a 30-minute victory. That's a good situation, but yeah, it's just about rectifying that 1 mistake. A couple of bans coming through, Bombers with the same or similar game plan.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can't understate the fact that this is Bombers, you know? This isn't just some random team who managed to make it in. This is a team who can easily, on a pretty average day, take games from Chiefs and Mammoth, right? Like, this is Bombers right here, who Order are still just trying to make a run against, leading the series 1-0. Get into some of these bans, Irelia, Gragas, and Vladimir. It's going to be potentially first pick Kiana, which is left open, banning away and prioritizing the Karthus on blue side, like we were talking about in game 1, the Gangplank and the Xayah. So, opens up the opportunity for Swiffer's Kiana.
And Swiffer's Kiana, you'll remember, top 1 on the Penta. Very good cleanup of multiple team fights.
Plentiful kills on the Penta.
Yeah, that's the one. But the one thing I want to note is that this is already a very different game with the Kiana matchup in the mid lane. But most of Order's recent Kiana games, like they have been victories, but shaky starts. There was one where Spooks and Swiffer literally swapped roles. It was a Moby Boots, like pre-first item, no Duskblade Kiana, just being
Running
a Teemo
around.
ward in a river where Karthus was farming the side lane. So Ryoma's going to pick himself up the same matchup he played last time. Just going to go back to the Syndra. But for a team that has had shaky starts in the early game, this is definitely going to exacerbate it.
Honestly, interested that the Syndra was left open once again, right?
Yep.
Like, I look at towards these bans and I'm like, yeah, they make sense, right? Like, Vladimir towards Luch, you take Aurelia away from the solo lane, there's Gragas as well, but like, for me personally, I'd probably prioritize like the Syndra over like a Gragas, for example, because I feel like it's such an impactful pick and was one that was like slowly taking over that last game, but gonna let it open once again here for that mid lane.
Yeah, I think that is the key though, right? Like slowly taking over. It wasn't Ryoma just like booming Swiffer in the laning phase, and all of a sudden it's a 6-1 Syndra that is like you cannot deal with. They're gonna go back to the Braum, so that looks to be their answer to this pick. Not in terms of matchup, but just stylistically for team fights. And if you can get a Kiana in laning phase where like Syndra isn't really pressuring you, you get access to the map, then maybe that feels good. So if they're just going to continue leaving this one open and Ryoma continues going back into like this stand-up matchup that they can predict, for a player like Ryoma, that's probably a good thing.
I agree. We're going to have Braum and Tristana coming in as well. You know, this is a pick that we've seen only from Dream, literally in the entirety of the OPL, even though we had the whole flavor of the month, Tristana in solo lanes never hit the OPL, was banned but never actually picked. And then the first time was actually Dream yesterday, bring out in 2 games back-to-back and bring it again here in this game today against Bombers.
So Aatrox going to be locked in for Mimic once again. Eerily similar to the Game 1 draft. Of course, Jarvan substituted for the Lee Sin. That was picked much later, and red side, blue side switches this one up. So they have a few more bans to play with. Tally won't have his Renekton into the Aatrox matchup, with GP already gone. Aurelia, Vladimir. Options on the top side of the map certainly are dwindling. And the one thing I have to say is Kiana locked in, Tristana locked in. There's not that many forms of AP damage threat that are still up and available, with another ban to go here for Bombers.
Yeah, that is true. Tam Kench ban here as well, going to be followed by Kennen. And then final ban from Order, what are you looking to take away? So I'm thinking about duos really in the bottom lane, right? Like Tam Kench makes the Sona harder, obviously. Thresh as well.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
Because Cassio is one that Luch has played, but it was paired with the Thresh most commonly, and that looks like a scary lane, right? Like, we cast that game, and it's if Hook lands, Petrifying Gaze, instant, like, that is absolutely going to connect. It's very easy from that point out. And sitting underneath your turret, which Braum lanes kind of tend to do more often than not, like, that is a hard way to play that style. Alistar, we saw Corporal pick up a game yesterday, is kind of having a resurgence into the meta. He's going to be locked down here for Rogue. He's a long-time alley player.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see once gets paired alongside that, though. Order back over to them. Bot lane secured, mid lane as well. So we'll see what the top lane and jungle will be here. Lot off the table. No Karthus. Jarvan as well. It's going to be Nico. Okay.
Makes a lot of sense. Need AP damage. Match up into Aatrox is good. You have a very cheap build. You get to itemize very effectively. You go the Glacial into the double... like glacial proccing
Spookies,
items. Yeah, you go the spooky ghosts. It's a very good time. You get the hose after that one. Skarner is a champion we haven't seen from Spooks in a little while. Is he going to lock it in?
Ooh, okay. Last pick on blue side, Malphite.
Sure.
This is a spawn pick if I've ever seen one.
Yes. So behind the scenes, there have been some talkings about this one. Spooks is obviously very happy about this. Having a stretch. Is that even a stretch, or is that just a Malphite cosplay?
It might be a Malphite cosplay, to be honest. He's making himself bigger. Yeah, Bombers back over to them. It doesn't matter what they pick. It's not as hype as Malphite. It will be Lissandra coming through.
Well, that's the thing. Is it going to be Malphite jungle? Can he go topside Kiana jungle? We've seen was played by G2 over in the LEC. Nico, of course, flexible.
Mid?
The Lissandra pick just threw a huge spanner in the works here from the Bombers side. Surely not. Okay. I believe the cutoff is 20 seconds, so they still do have another 6 to play with.
The fact that you have three flexible
Yeah, 'cause-
picks right here. We don't know where it will
Okay,
land.
okay. Because it was that moment of like, okay, this is going to be a Malphite jungle. That's fine.
Have
Start
we all
talking
been
about
duped?
it. And then it's like, wait, is it? Hello? Switcheroo? No.
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of AP damage threat, I kind of leveraged an order in the early phases of this draft. Getting yourself a Malphite, getting yourself a Nico certainly accounted for that one. And a list coming back for Ryoma.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I love when, you know, just like these very niche picks come through and we get to just kind of like analyze them, you know, like niche picks that are not really seen anywhere else as well. And we can definitely speculate all day, in which we are definitely going to do in the early game. However, we do have the man behind the pick here along with us. It's going to be Choo Choo's. How are you?
I won't say it was actually me. I'm sure you guys can. I'm sure you guys can figure it out who is the Malphite expert.
Connoisseur.
We've already
Yes.
said it, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to us about this pick though, right? Because obviously this has gone through enough of a filtering phase where the players actually wanted to pick it up in a Gauntlet situation.
Yep. So, yeah, there's a reason why Malphite jungle isn't a thing, but it is a thing this game because we felt that like we're pretty decent laning. We've got a pretty decent lane, so like we're really relying on this game to go quite slow, and hopefully we can just show you how strong Malphite is once he gets to level 6.
Yeah, okay. Level 6, hit the ulti. Huge engage potential. I want to ask you about that first game. Certainly a rough run out the gate, sitting behind the scenes
boy.
upstairs in the room. How was that for you?
I think I'm actually stoked we won because I think that game looked unplayable for a solid 25 minutes. And I told this to the boys, I think they should be incredibly proud that they were able to maintain their composure, like order, like Gauntlet, I don't know, but I think it's a massive confidence boost being able to come back from that game, and hopefully we can carry that momentum that we always do in Gauntlet.
And I want to take that a step further as well, because again, this is into Bombers, right? And this is now a 4-0 record against Bombers in the summer split. Like, why? How does this keep happening? Because we're speculating, we're looking at it, but it feels like there's always a way that Order managed to come back into their games against Bombers.
I think I've said this a couple times, but I think stylistically versus Bombers, we go up very well against them. I also think they're like probably one of our major scrim partners, so we understand each other quite a lot. But I think Bombers, like their strength is probably like their strength is like their solo lanes and their ability to like explode an early game and have these individual outstanding performances. But we're like a really good team fight team. So like we're really good at like if we can make it past these individual performances and get to like the 15-minute like Baron fight or Dragon fight, like that's our playing field. And I tell the boys that, and that's ultimately how we approach the Bombers every time we verse them.
Let me rephrase that a little bit then. So, like, obviously, we talked about this topic a lot, but, like, I speculated that, like, there's a lot of experience on the side of Order, right? Like, you look at, like, the years between all of these players, it's a lot. Like, do you think they're able to find opportunities that maybe other teams wouldn't be able to, and they just have this, like, sixth sense that is built up over time?
For sure. We've got... Oh, here we go.
Hello.
Yeah, a bit of engage in the bottom lane, forcing out that flash there from Luke as well. Gets the headbutt into tower, though, forces the flash onto Jake.
All right, that was nuts.
That was spicy.
That was spicy indeed, yeah.
Oh yeah, answering your question. Yeah, having veterans on your roster, like, I think they do a really good job calming everyone down. Like, they've been in the environment so many times. We've been on stage so many times in the best ofs. So there's a massive benefit to having like a couple in your team.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us once again. Hopefully get to speak to you again tomorrow. Best of luck in the
Fingers
best of
crossed.
five.
Thank you.
And okay, so I was going to talk about the volatility of the bot lane matchup.
Case in point.
It was expressed very clearly. Level 2 dinged. Tristana, like a solo lane, just jumps on their head. Ryoma is copying a beating in the mid lane trade, but minions do a bit of the work. Because when you kind of look at it, right, like Trist, oh, okay, let's look at it again.
Yeah, Jake is ticking down. He's dead to rights here. First blood goes over to the Syndra, and Dream, last auto attack, had the potion ticking here, so we'll be able to walk away from this one. But first blood, 2 Bombers. Ryoma going down towards the bottom lane. Swiffer will catch him here on the stun.
Very hard to keep progressing down the river, though. Multiple members of Bombers left standing down there. And that was another force from Order's side, right? Like level 2 ding, they just jump on their head. Rogue with a very fancy play, actually procs level 2 himself, solo XP with a minion kill on the Alistar. All it was an auto attack, and it throws Jake back into the turret. And Wilder quick with the punish, no flash. Braum very easy to take down, so in a lane that is TP versus heal, like combat summoner advantage for Order, the kill going in the other direction is very, very good start here for Bombers fans.
Yeah, we should also note that it is Lissandra mid lane here, as the Syndra did go towards the bottom lane. That was final pick Lissandra coming through, so Luch piloting this pick. Top lane is going to be Nico into that Aatrox. Mid lane, Kiana finally picked up here by Swiffer as it was left open. Bottom lane, Rogue is looking for this WQ combo here. We'll get a headbutt into the wall, and the slow combo with the Pulverize. Jumps towards Dream for the shield, tosses out the Q onto Wilder. Scatter the weak, not quite enough to finish off this support, and now pushing back out into this lane.
Yeah, I don't believe they knew the heal was still available. You can see Wilder absolutely commits to the play, but Summoner is going to dissuade any further pressure here as Jungle is now matching Spooks with whatever the hell that Malphite skin just walks into lane. He's going to force the priority so they can maybe look for a reset. Tally actually ripped back under turret. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Odyssey Malphite, actually. Yeah, mid lane just going at it. So let's talk about this Malphite pick. All right, so Malphite, I mean, it's been a long time since we've really seen him in the solo lane or Malphite at all. Changes did come through a couple patches ago. W is now an auto attack reset. Q connects more quickly, so you don't get that annoying situation where you chuck out the cheese wheel. Cheese wheel slowly drifts towards them and you just don't get the movement speed until it connects. Because it doesn't get, until it actually connects, you don't get the extra movement speed. So these are huge quality of life changes to the Malphite. But he can now very effectively clear the jungle because of those changes, specifically on the W. So you can see right now he is holding pace here with Wilder.
Yeah, and in a weird way, given that they are in a deficit, it may be weird to say this, but like the early game has kind of gone how he wants it, right? Like he doesn't want to be fighting Wilder in the jungle. It is just a Jarvan, it's not like a Graves or something that can hard pressure you, but Spooks has just spent this entire time like not even looking at lanes, just clearing camps. Jarvan shows, he goes to the other side to try and take one away, but it is really like the old school Amumu. Yeah. And like the baseline to over like analyze the pick in like a very simple manner. Like you think if you steal away the blue buff, early game is trashed, it's super hard. And you heard Choo Choo's mention that in the interview, right? Like not every game is a Malphite game. Like this pick wasn't even his idea, but coming into it, like this is it. When you blind pick the Kiana and get a defensive matchup like the Liss is the answer, you have Nico into Aatrox. It's multiple lanes of priority that can just kind of play goalie in the laning phase for your Malphite, get him to 6, and Order, they're almost there. Yeah,
it's a trap card pick, you know, can only be used under very specific circumstances, but when it is, you slap it on the table.
Yeah.
Wilder is going in for this red buff invade, though. Should be able to take this one away uncontested. Given the bot lane movements, I think it's been seen out here by Order as red is now spawning blue buff as well, but this is now priority over bottom side, so looks like this will be a triple buff on second rotation for Bombers right here onto that Malphite, which definitely sucks because Spooks will see this now, but that was this level 6.
Yeah. Certainly was. Does mean that Wilder has basically his entire jungle up and available. And look at Spooks' map right now. 0 camps, no ulti, so gank opportunities are very difficult to come by. May just be some waiting in bushes for the time being. If he had a ward to throw over the wall, that could have been a smite contest, but not going to be the play here. They did watch him walk in. Rogue has Hex Flash. This is a very, very proactive play here from Bombers.
Yeah, nice pathing though from Spooks. Would move towards mid lane on top of the control ward, move all the way to the other side, actually in Fog of War. So, and they actually have no idea where this Malphite went. He's just, to them, an absolute wizard. Swiffer into this top side though has disappeared and arrives to see Mimic, jumps in, looks towards the stun, but dodged away from by Mimic. He'll still fall though. Does get the stun onto Tani outside of tower range. He flashes away. Spooks is here as well. And they all get away, get the kill into Mimic, and just get out.
Yeah, Rogue, though, Flash just came off cooldown, is now available, and multiple members rotating up Bombers. We're looking for the collapse, but dive maybe off the cards. And you have to say, Mimic played that just about as well as he could have. Very early Flash gets himself away from the Kiana, but damage was not to be. Order are able to trade kills back and forth. Wilder now caught.
Wrong place, wrong time. Spooks has the ultimate as well, misses it though. This is going to be a flash over, tags him with the auto attack, try and get this stun down. Needs 2 more to secure this one. Tani coming in from the top side yet. This Jarvan is dead to rights, and that will be another kill to Order.
Yeah, support's rotating upwards this time. Jake is going to be able to secure that kill. So a weird series of events, but it does net Order the advantage. Only 500 gold was in Wilder and the Bomber camp before, but it's now kind of flipped on its head. It did mean that Luch was down here with a little bit of solo time with Dream. Both of them have opted in for a recall. When you're taking a look at like the two roles, Mage versus AD Carry, probably feels much better to get these really weird staggered resets that early skirmishes create.
Yep.
When you're a Syndra, like an extra Doran's on a Syndra, that feels like a good time, whereas you get two D-Blades on a Trist and it's like, okay, I've had a rough laning phase, like I needed the extra stats, so... down here, not all hope is lost, and you can see that in the CS lead here for the Syndra as well.
Yeah, for sure. This bottom lane going quite well. Mirroring the build from mid lane.
Yeah.
Well, Ryoma going for a very similar thing. And yeah, I was actually interested to see what direction the Malphite was going to go into. He has picked up the Dark Seal and the Amp Tome. I was wondering if it was going to be tank here, because even with relatively tanky items and maybe like a Frozen Fist slash like Triforce, you're a big damage threat in team fights. But it's actually opting towards the AP build here.
And I kind of like it, right? When you think about junglers, in terms of like comparing it to top lane Malphite, which is obviously what you see, like you need sustain, you need the bulkiness, because the barrier is your opponent in lane. Like, at least in the first 20 minutes of the game, right? Like, junglers interact very sparingly with their opponents.
Yeah.
Like, if you're too squishy, you get found out by an enemy jungler, like, he can fight you. But most of this game, if the game plan as a team prepares, it goes into the series like this one, Spooks just needs to be fine enough to clear his camps, and then he's just an ult button. And if it lands, it doesn't matter what his build is, right? You might as well be one-hitting people on the backside, because tank stats aren't going to mean that much. Swiffer, though,
Instant
in trouble.
cleanse, but caught out by the Alistair
Big
and a whole
ulti.
lot of CC, but he slinks away as Spooks comes out, triple knockup, and gets a kill and return onto Wilder. It's going to be power unleashed onto Spooks in the mid lane, but it's still not enough damage. Knockback, Buster shot, double kill for Swiffer, knockback from Rogue, but this has got disastrously wrong for the Bombers. Ryoma trying to get out of this one, but he's stunned up. Swiffer still moving forward. Claw gets him out of this one. Glacial path to victory, but Swiffer is still chasing. Just managed to get the last tick of damage onto Rogue, but 2 kills in that gank situation.
Yeah, such a weird series of events. Tristana doing her best like Goomba Stomp impression. Alistair throwing in left and right. Tally now wanting some.
Yeah, Jake chucks out the fissure onto Rogue, even through the ultimate, should be able to take him down. Looks for the knockback onto Tani, takes one tower shot, Glacial path to the side. Ryoma here with Luch as well, moving from the bottom lane. Here comes Mimic, and Wilder turning up to the play. Knockback onto Jake, but not the stun. He's still duking underneath tower.
back.
This is long enough for Swiffer to come back from base. Spooks as well, no ultimate. Wilder ticking down Ryoma low. Flag drag back to tower. Are we done?
I love the Malphite walking back into the play, full HP, and all he's got is a little bit of a Q. We're going to take a look at how this one starts off. Swiffer barely survives with the CC landing here, and this really was the moment of surprise. Kiana picks up a kill, but Bombers didn't expect a Tristana to come flying, and Tristana insec into the turret. And from that point, it's not a Jinx getting a reset, it is just the continuous jumps. The CC from Kiana ulti very nearly cancelled the claw there from Ryoma. That could have just been a complete wash. Swiffer picks up another kill, he's fine, and that teamfight goes one way, but it did stick around a little bit further. Bombers look for the answer. But this game is not slowing down anytime soon. Order immediately start up the Rift Tower. The TP's already here.
Yeah, teleport's going to complete, and this will actually... Oh, this is close. Trying to get the reset there on Shelly, but it's just not quite there. It is. The full reset onto Shelly, and now Bombers will go towards this one, keep this one off once again, but Order are surrounding the area. It's down to about 50% here.
Yeah, Spook sitting on a blast plan. Doesn't have flash, but has the ulti. All the members in the pit.
He's waiting for it. They need complete vision of this one. Dream stepping up to the pit, down to 600 HP. There's the ultimate for Spooks. Dodged away from by Bombers. They'll move towards this Braum right now. Stunned down onto Dream. Goes into his stopwatch, but he's just straight up dead. Swiffer still looking for this one potentially, though. Tally has just turned up. Q over the wall. This is risky. They just lose Jake. Tally backing away as well. Ultimate doesn't do a whole lot. Now Spooks looking for this full disengage. Swiffer has already used the ultimate. Bombers on this chase, gets the flash and the knock up there onto Spooks as well. Follow through, flag drag, disaster.
And every single time these team fights just last so long. Somebody gets one shot in the beginning and everybody else just walks away. Swiffer picks up another kill on the back end. He one-hit Luch, but Bombers just walking Order away from this one. The interaction with the Malphite and the Alistair, super unfortunate here. They basically trade positions. Looking for the Dream scenario. It's actually the Claw as well over the top, and you see Lutz die, but Dream suffers the same fate. And at this point, Order just don't have any buttons left. Swiffer, though,
Into
okay.
another fight here. Swiffer. He's low. Wallow was about to just cop that CC out from Braum, but both will just move away from this. Both alive, but yeah, it's just constant fighting in this game, you know?
Yeah.
Coming into second game, sometimes you get very slow games, you know, like the teams will not butt heads at all, but we're 14 minutes in, 11 kills have happened. Mimic also getting caught on bottom side, rooted. Spooks thinking about it, no ultimate though.
Yeah, no ulti, no nothing. Gets thrown out if you're not in Q range. That's a little bit of a roughie. I want to finish the point because I think it's super impactful. Until Dream gets items, there's really no form of like consistent damage. Like Aatrox, yes, to some degree, much more slow, but you look at like the Liss has one combo, Syndra the same, Kiana, Malphite, Nico, all of these champions are just one button champions. Do your job, oh, it didn't land, they've got nothing left, right? And that's why we're just seeing the never-ending fights. The ability to actually secure a kill is just, it's not there for any of these teams just yet. They need gold, they need the CC to be able to land, and if you're one-shooting one member in the early game, that's kind of all you can get. As this progresses later and it's more items, more damage, one kill can just be a steamroll of a team fight, but yep, super close back and forth between these two guys for the start of game number 2.
Feels like this Malphite pick is yet to really reach its full potential. These have been like 2 ultimates now where I've seen just not hit from like very unfortunate circumstances.
One got flashed, one got clawed, headbutted. Yeah.
It's like, how often do you see a headbutt dodge from Malphite ultimate? You know what I mean? Like these are just like serious unfortunate events for Spooks, but there's like targets which are going to be very easy to hit. Like a late game Syndra just like floating around, has no dash. Like it's flash or die. To Malphite, you know, will hit these situations. So I feel like the pick will start to pay off at some point, but we haven't really seen the full potential of it as we find our second Cloud Dragon here to Bombers.
And that is a super good point, right? Rogue, it's baited by the clone there. Burns just the combo, not worth anything at the end of the day, but like one-button champions are the kind of champions that rely on Flash, right? Like you think about like the Alistar, all he has is the combo and needs Flash to get him in. So once we get later and later, that's going to become super relevant. If there's any sort of misstep, like your engage doesn't land, because you have to commit so hard on that engage, like the punish will always be there, and that can be said from both sides. In the same way that, oh no, oh that he thought he had Hex Flash. I know that pain so much. I feel that, Rogue. He came off cooldown and he flashed into the wall thinking he had to charge it. He had some time for the Shelly Bash. That just sucks.
That's that life. He still get the turret. History will never remember that.
Yeah, look, he got
but we will.
That's fine.
Plus Nijin will.
I feel like that always happens.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. What?
It's just some
We just
random
spot something,
crap,
yeah.
right? You're just like, oh, bad luck, I guess.
Yeah, and we're always there to see it. And we will point it out. Top lane tower goes down there to Swiffer, so they do manage to get something on the opposite side of the map. But Bomber's getting an inner turret here. Big deal. 17 minutes. Swiffer actually getting control of top side jungle as well as red buff has spawned. So might be something here for them. But choosing to back away. Did have recalls coming in from Bombers. And similar story in the bottom side of the map, just contesting vision.
Yeah, super hard to trade positively against a Rift Herald. So 2 turrets to 1. Not that much of a surprise. Getting one on the other side is good. The red buff looking like the answer. Jake?
Ooh! The flash. Spooks will follow up. Hits the ultimate. That's almost a single combo there. And the ultimate as well. Out from Swiffer. Q follow. That will be the kill into the mid lane. Now trying to disengage. Jake doing what he can, but flag dragged. Gets the heal out from the support, but he's still dead. Rocket jump in from Dream as well. It's a 1-for-1 trade.
And keen League of Legends fans have seen that Malphite play at the top of Reddit last week. The flash burns the flash, the instant response. Such a big brain maneuver, and then lands the ulti to boot. Now Order looking to continue this fight. Bomber's going in.
Flag drag, combo. Swiffer dodges the damage there with the flash. Brema chasing through. Mimic here as well. There are so many people there to greet him. Shutdown goes over to Mimic.
Here, another kill goes their way. So the gold lead progressing to 1.5 thousand in their favor. No Dragon up and available. No real objective to get off the back end of the play, but a couple of camps stolen away. A little bit more priority, and Bob is creeping ever so slightly up in this one.
7-7 now, and yeah, you can start to see what the Malphite pick is there for. Almost a single combo onto a mage who's not going to build magic resist, you know, so like that will just keep happening.
Also, I just love that that is like the dream scenario. It is that is genuinely the most oh shit moment in the game. Like, Q comes flying out, Malphite flashes, and your reaction is just like, oh, I have to get out, but ulti is always there. Mimic had the quick rotation here. You can see Tally TPing from base is another 5 seconds away. The Aatrox has already done a lot of work, so landing at this point, they have the members. They didn't have to pay the TP for it. Mimic, I don't believe, actually had it. So wandering up and getting some value. Has been struggling in the side lane, right? He's an Aatrox, it's 4-1, but the Nico matchup isn't a pleasant one. For the Aatrox side, you just get shoved in the entire game. Her items are a little bit cheaper and a little bit more efficient, but now 4-1 has the Hex Drinker to boot. Is incredibly scary up there.
Yeah, really just been soaking up these kills as skirmishes have been happening, to be honest. Yeah, still need a while for this Tristana to scale. Went obviously for those double Durham Blades early on, picked up only now the Infinity Edge, moved towards second item, looked towards Mercury Treads as well. So it's just like a good 10 minutes before like 2.5 items. We were really looking towards like Tristana time, but for now it's, you know, all about that Kiana, all about like the Aatrox in the top lane, these big skirmishes, and you know, everybody with these front-loaded kits just looking to blow someone up. Yeah,
and that's the thing, right? Like, you take a look at, yes, the item spikes, but also the nature of, like, 20-minute League of Legends. This is where teams start setting up Baron, and, like, turrets are being broken, as you can see, so flank plays become available. When you look at Bomber's composition, they have a slight lead, yes, but they've deployed topside, they have the control around the Baron pit. This is their perfect time to, like, set up a play a couple of minutes in advance. Rogue like drops all these wards, you get a flank list. It is enormous, Aatrox is enormous, everything that you can engineer at this point when Dream is at his weakest is the way they will be looking to close this one out, right? Like the item spikes have been hit. 2 there from the list, just a little bit away from the Syndra, and Dream, just by nature of the champion, still has 8 levels and a bunch of gold to go. Certainly wanting to be making things happen, and you can see a bunch of pings into the mid lane.
Yeah, all they're trying to set up on this one. Wilder is sat on a control ward, though, top side of lane, so let's see if Order actually hard commits this one. Bottom just cleared out, and Swift pressuring as well, so looks like they will back away. Nico
everybody here
changing into Malphite. Chucks out the Super Soaker, slows down Wilder. Takes some damage out from this one as he backs away from the explosive charge, and Bombers are posturing towards Dragon, which is now up here at Mountain.
The first good one of the game, 2 in their back pocket already, just a couple of clouds, but Mountain draws everybody's attention. Mimic and Wilder are on the flank. That's an ulti, though.
Yeah, that is. Zhonya's burned for that one. Dream kicked into the tower. Lucha's still dead. Power Unleashed on to Dream, but he's going to chase down Rogue underneath this tower. Buster shot. It's not execute enough damage. Mimic turning on towards J-Cry here. Tosses out the Ice Shard, and it's going to be Wilder using the Cataclysm. Flag drag. Spooks is stuck in this one. Turned into a thrall here, courtesy of the Lysandra. Tally flashing away, has the ultimate running. Ryoma jumps into this one, dodges out of the Kiana ultimate, goes completely wide. Mimic chasing up as well. Flash into Q, but now he's just missing everything. Detonates off of the E, off the Tristana damage. And that'll be a 3 for 2 in the end. Super messy. Swiffer just walks into the mid lane and dies.
Huge shutdown going over to Ryoma once again. 2 back-to-back games where a stable laning phase explodes in the mid game. 3-0 on this list, and just cleaning up the back end of the team fight. You look at this play. Rogue Flash Pulverized throws them into turret. Spooks gets his ulti stopwatched again, and it looks like the dream for Order fans, right? Like that team fight, unfortunately, is not going to land, but the punish is just always there. This series of plays, Wilder locking in Spooks, Roma very swiftly flash W and then locks down 2 targets at once. Tally just runs for the hills, and then the follow-up is already there. The turnaround here very close from Order. Jake over the wall, kind of hiding in fog right now, and Mimic gets baited by a very mobile Swift. It looks like Dream could have cleaned up, but yeah, less passive. Enough to draw him away. Swiffer, that's just a cheeky int off the back end of a reasonable team fight.
Yeah.
Bad luck.
Unfortunate, yeah. It was very close to being a 3 for 3, but Rogue just getting away by a sliver of HP. And the skin of his teeth gets away from that one, but yeah, big shutdown going over to Lysandra, who has now a bounty of her own, 3-0 and 4. Yeah, that was a 7-1 Kiana off the backside of that fight, now 7-2. But still 10-10 in kills, and basically dead on even gold, only 1,000 gold in it right here. 3 Dagon over to the Bombers as Rogue. Cops a Q here. Winter's Bite from old Jake, top lane.
Luch there to back him up.
Setting
See. Is Ryoma going to face check? He is.
Yes, he is. Instant unstoppable force. Quick fingers on the ultimate there from Ryoma. But Swiffer walks into the enemy team, sees Luch, turns around, dodges out of the cow combo. Now dodging away from this one. Swiffer gets the stealth, turns around, sees if he can get the kill onto Luch. Oh, very close. Meanwhile, on top side, Mimic's just killing Spooks without his ultimate. 2 kills over to the Bombers. Baron up.
And Order, they get punished once again, looking for the play onto Ryoma, but Liss, with the Seekers almost at the Zhonya's, next item buy will be that marker, and the initial burst doesn't land. We said it earlier, the one buttons they have to do their job, or the follow-up is just not going to be there, and the TP Swift from Bombers clean up the back end. Fancy feet by Swift for some time, but mid-jungle duo does go down, and Bombers just wrestling control back of their topside jungle. Observers just pointing out the vision that was there no longer remains. Nothing but red up in the north side of the map.
Yeah, and Bombers, again, with a pretty definitive advantage now. Similar situation to game 1. We'll see if they can close this one out, though. Yeah, Baron still yet to be taken by either team. Did not go for it off the back of that fight, though, Bombers. Just getting control of the area in terms of vision, what you can see lit up here in the river. So we're still going to be pretty much another fight off a Baron actually going down. Tristan, importantly, has hit 2.5 items.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, Dream's clock is really the one thing that everybody's sleeping on this game. Like, right now, like, we've said it multiple times, but item spikes are hit for Bombers. They are incredibly strong. Once you get to the late game stages, they will lack, like, a consistent form of AD damage, whereas Dream will be that, but until he gets, like, 3rd, maybe 4th, like, he's not scary, but hitting 2 items certainly important. Swiffer massive off the back end is something to be worried about, and it's one of those weird situations where Order, they're constantly stepping up. They're actually being given this topside control because Bombers feel like they can't take a fight against this Kiana. Maybe the map control not in their favor, no TP. But that's going to be Ryoma into the backside, looking for the flank.
Yeah, they really want this kill onto Swiffer, who's going to juke into Ryoma, tosses out the ultimate, gets the stun down. Spook goes in with the ultimate to try and finish him up, but he is just cleaned up by Mimic. The rest of Order cutting back now, but they have a lot of engage still to go. Flag drag doesn't quite connect, and Swiffer turning around. Managed to keep the mid lane alive here. Ryoma waiting over the wall in a bit of a standoff now in this river as Bombers look towards this Baron pit, jump over it, and look for the disengage.
And such a weird game. Spooks just gets one tapped off the back end of the combo, and Bombers 5 versus 4 actually get pushed out of topside river. Waves having to be reset. Mimic just dashing the wall, running straight towards that mid lane, and 4 seconds left on the cooldown here of Spooks. We'll be back on the map very soon. Gold lead still in Bombers' hands, but Order, they still have control up here.
Yeah, the Malphite just kind of inches away from getting killed every time. You know, has not really been the beneficiary of any kills this game, so it doesn't have the extra influx of gold to give him the extra little bit to kind of keep rolling. You know, Malphite, one of those picks, especially AP, just needs to stay above the curve in terms of HP against your opponents off of scaling. Otherwise, yeah, you hit like 90% of the health bar, and you're like, uh-oh, I have nothing left, and they beat you up, and you die.
Turn around, bonk you in the head, and it does kind of get harder with more Zhonya's completed. Ryoma hits that mark, Luch hits that mark. The one thing that you can say is that every single time the pick target, unfortunately for Order, has been Ryoma. Right? Like, Liss out of everyone on this lineup, the 2 targets that you're looking at are Liss Syndra. Like, she's the less appetizing one. She has the ulti. Aftershock, if she procs the W as you're flying in, like, that's a huge burst of resistances that requires reaction times that Ryoma, very few mid laners have, but he could. So it always has been like the potential of that pick, but it hasn't eventuated. And then because of that, you sit here looking at like a 0-4 Malphite struggling to find access into this game.
And now Bomber's looking for this pick onto 2 players on his bottom side. Gets the stun down onto Spooks. He rushes away though, has the extra movement speed out from the cheese wheel, and we're back on out. So did have to burn the ultimate. That being said, we'll cooldown. We'll be up in about 30-40 seconds. Yeah,
ulti burn from Spooks, and also rocket jump from the Tristana means that this dragon is just going to be all but conceded. The lion's share, absolutely. 0 for the blue team, and 2 mountains, 2 clouds here for Bombers, picking this one up with ease. 3rd mountain will be spawning in 5 minutes, but for a team that hasn't even looked at trying to take down the Baron, they don't have the most consistent damage. Double mountain certainly makes it significantly easier. Order are on vision here. Wilder.
Yes, they are. They'll go for the engage triple knockup into just combo town here for Bombers. 2 kills. Now chasing down to Jake as well. He just has to take this one. The rest of the team gets away. Nico was there expecting a flank, but it wasn't even a fight. Bombers turn on towards the Baron.
Yeah, you saw a huge smile on Rogue's face there. Everything they needed. Order stacked themselves on top of a one lonely ward in the bush, and Bombers just rout them. Wombo galore, the List, the alley, the Jarvan, all over the top. Team fight with ease, and this gold lead that we've been talking about has been so close the entire game. Now 5k with a Baron buff. This is looking like Bomber's moment.
See that one again, yeah, saw it off of Wilder, and just what a combo.
And the best part is Wilder just walking perpendicular to the bush. Doesn't give it away, isn't walking straight at them. Actually looks like he's face checking further up the river, walking to the dot bush, and then EQ sideways knocks up 3. Ryoma lands on everyone. Ali does the same. It's yeah, just the dream scenario for a comp like this. And now with Baron cracking open the base is a reasonable scenario, and Bombers, they're going to look to do it.
Ryoma taking a bit of damage here in the mid lane, but should be good to go. And I felt like I heard the echoes of what was going to happen if I heard the players through 2 doors and then through my headset. I was like, okay, something's about to happen in 0.5 seconds. And yeah, that was a hell of a wash there for Bombers into Baron. Now a 5k lead.
Yeah, most of it in a jungle position. Spooks 2k down. Actually, top lane as well. Tally incredibly far down. Mimic is massive. Has just been the recipient of so many kills. Sitting 9-2. Second game on the Aatrox. Very, very large. It's kind of troublesome for someone like a Tristana to deal with. She kind of has the Buster Shot and that's it. If you jump away from the Aatrox, then you've got nothing for Liss, you've got nothing for the Ali, the Syndra, so your life becomes incredibly hard. Mimic being able to pop that one early feels very, very good here for Bombers fans. Hex Flash channeling.
They're going for this one. They'll find Jake. Turns around, hits a nice fissure. Mimic's still looking for this. Swiffer gets caught out, tosses out the supreme display of skill into the ultimate from Spooks. Gets Wilder. Now pushing forwards onto Mimic as well. He's going to get stunned up and rooted. Swiffer still chasing off of this one. Goes into stealth, looking towards the mid laner. This should be disengaged here by Bombers. They did not manage to crack open that inhibitor line and order pull off the defense.
Yeah, it's not often you see a Malphite ulti in, flash away, and that actually be a victorious team fight for the team, but that is going to be the play. It is kind of the hallmark of Tristana coming online. That was the Braum passive extraordinaire right there. Wilder goes in, is just stuck. Swiffer ults him into his own Cataclysm, but you just cannot get away from the Trist when all of your engage gets thrown at the Braum. They didn't have any buttons left, and the response is there. Rama going to get himself a blue buff and a little bit of time left on the Baron, so one push isn't going to chew through the entirety of that buff. They have some time to play with. Of course, it was a turret going down. Yes, they lost a member, but they didn't get nothing for their cause. Top turret as well, so 2 turrets is the play.
Yeah, I'm still not bad in the end of the minute until next Dragon will be a 3rd mountain. And this is going to be a teleport here onto Jake. Does have flash if he wants to burn it. Got a claw following. Dodges out of the cow combo, but he's locked up, put in the fridge, and put down as well. Mimic will get that kill onto Jake.
And that's exactly what they need. Not much left on the Baron, but a 4 versus 5 is going to do it here. Dream recalling topside. Spooks is the same, so Inhib indefensible here for 2 members versus 5, and Bombers are just breaking open the base.
Yeah, this is at least Inhib right here. Pally stepping forwards, gets to slow down. Dream trying to get these pot shots off. Swiffer, of course, flanking. See if we can get some damage onto some key targets. Here comes the Glacial Claw. So we're still poking, but Bombers have forgotten what they came for. Take down an inhibitor and back away.
And it's not often in the current meta you see a composition without like one person with a rapid fire cannon. You saw that moment where like the wave dies and nobody can step up to hit the inhib. Trist range coming online, but Bombers, second rotation of spells walking through. Able to just kind of brute force their way in. As soon as Syndra stun, the Liss Claw are up and available. They have so much threat. A pretty far radius here against Order, and now mid lane broken. 5,000 gold is the lead. Baron up in 1:50, not before the last remaining mounter is fought over.
Yeah, I just feel more and more this Tristana is the lifeline of the team here. As Bombers actually slow to the punch right here, as Order are going to kick this one off. It's a slow down onto the engage. Wild's going to get control of the area. Ryoma is actually just heading into the jungle, see if we can get a flank off. Reset onto Dragon, that's inconvenient. Kind of surprised it reset that close to the pit, to be honest. Yeah, we'll go down to Bombers, though, in the end. 3 Dragons over to them in terms of mountains and 2 clouds.
It's windy out there, man.
It is. We've had
Over the
so
water?
many clouds. In,
Oh, I meant the dragon walks out of the pit.
Oh,
It's
right.
like, you know
He's
when
like,
you walk
nope.
through a street in the city and it's just a wind tunnel and you're like, oh god, get me out of here.
It's very much like that in Sydney.
Yeah.
It's just wind tunnels everywhere.
And
no,
he's
that's fair.
just like
I'm
river.
done.
Oh god, no, back in the pit.
Yeah.
Skedaddle, get myself out of that one.
But it has been a bit of a cloudy Gauntlet in general, you know?
Yeah, it
like
is.
pretty much every game has at least a cameo by Cloud Dragon. But still, with 5 Dragons right here and next going to be Elder, Bombers will enjoy it nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. Baron spawning in 45 seconds. You can see mid-priority. Super impactful here, fought over by both teams. Order not having a mid-in-hit makes it a little bit more difficult. Swiffer with the Ghost Blade popped. Wanted access to Wilder, but isn't going to quite find it.
Yeah, trying to get control of this area. Order are here first, though. But they have enough threat that Bombers are being very respectful, you know, not stepping up, not trying to brute force them out. And I feel like you still have to do that at every point in the game when you have a really big Kiana, and also the threat of a Malphite still.
Yeah.
Like, Luch has been playing very respectful since like the start of the game. Like, how often have you even seen Luch on the same screen as Malphite while he's got ultimate up?
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, respectful really is it. Bombers have done such a good job this game of finding flank wards, and every fight they initiate is from multiple angles. You cannot run front to back at a Braum Tristana when you have 2 mages and an Aatrox, and like you have to worry about like flashing Malphite ulti. There's all of these things that just get thrown very linearly in your direction. And they've done like a very good job at actually executing on that, right? They're being respectful from what Order can throw at them. They've already got triple flank wards initiated behind them right now. Like, Luch is the only one with a TP, which does suck for Order, for Bombers rather, that Ryoma doesn't have it available, nor does Mimic, but this is a Baron buff. Well-prepared Order at this stage are going to have to face check multiple pink wards if they want to contest in here. Wilder's in.
Flag is crack. Just managed to connect the Q. Spook right there, tosses out the cheese wheel. Ryoma chasing down onto Swift right here, goes into the stealth field. Meanwhile, Jake has been caught out by Wilder, but now he's kind of just by himself here. Gets the route down onto Luch. He'll jump away and go into the Zhonya's Tally chasing after, gets the shutdown. He goes into his own, and that's a massive knock-up out from the Malphite, who's just running ham in the back line. Tally dodging away from Mimic, rooting yet again, and Dream tries to catch up to this one, hops away. Mimic kind of in a null end to that fight as Spooks is still in this backline, has just been slapping away at Wilder and Rogue for like 20 solid seconds.
And multiple things in that team fight. The first time we see Spooks, big ulti lands, and a potential play actually starts off. Swiffer has already used the ulti. We didn't see what happened, but actually caught out in no man's lane, and he falls down. And remember, Mimic is absolutely massive right now, like 11-1. Make it 12 as he cleans up Spooks.
Just into another fight. 12, 2, and 3. He's been just collecting kills in all of these fights, and Dream, not a lot he can do here, and Baron will go to Bombers.
And that's the thing, right? Like, you listen to Jake on the couch talking about the Aatrox. So much healing in a team fight. This time without the Sona, but he steps up. The Buster shot, like, cancels Rogue's combo. Very well played from Dream, but Aatrox just steps up in a 4-item 80 carry. Can't even deal with it at this stage. This is the second play. They briefly started Baron, but they just bait the Malphite in, coming in over the top, and Dream without a front line, nothing to be able to hit, is actually just going to have to jump away.
Man, 0, 6, and 7 now on this Malphite. But still, that ultimate hurt a lot. You know, you can see the power, like, when it hits a 3-man knockup, it's still a Malphite ultimate hitting you at level 13. But yeah, unfortunate. Bombers getting themselves Baron once again. Dream still trying to scale, now 4.5 items. But Bombers are escalating now, potentially out of control. 7,000 gold now. And Order struggling to maintain control of their bottom jungle as Elder will be spawning in about 35 seconds. And this is 5 dragons behind it as well.
Yeah, absolutely massive. Rogue is also just so damn tanky. 40 minutes now hit. It's been a very long game of League of Legends. Alistar, not even 2 items completed, but 3k is the health pool, is massive right now, and Bombers just committing to the south jungle control, pushing this ward line forwards. It's very scary for Order to have to face check against anything like Alyssa, Syndra, and Alistar. That ward is spotting out Mimic. Unfortunately, the one remnant that has got through the vision control right now. And as soon as the Elder Dragon is going to spawn, Bomber's going to set this one up. Rogue looking like he's attempting to play goalie, but Triple Mountain, this one just dies.
Yep, and then those mountains would be even more effective.
Yes.
Yeah, 12, 2, and 3. I said it before, but Mimic is an absolute monster right here. And this is kind of like the Aatrox games that you expect out of a solo laner like Mimic.
Yeah.
And now Bombers with Baron, Elder Dragon, 5 Dragons. Now looking towards this bottom lane, and it feels like Bombers get more and more and more objectives, but still haven't quite finished out this game. Still looking towards this bottom inhibitor. You feel like after all of these buffs, it's almost insurmountable here. Wow, they're just going to go straight for the engage. Will flag drag out. Ryoma goes back in one by one. Bombers are still slowly moving forwards on this one. Tally's low, but he gets away. Knock up onto the front line. Swiffer juking along the back. Knocks them all towards the Kiana. Had already ulted. Didn't see where that one went. Spooks dodges away with his ultimate. These are a lot of ultimates being used defensively here, and Bombers, the slow push forwards. This War Machine is slowly grinding down these base objectives down to one Nexus turret. And still Order have not gone in for their final engage. They have to do it now. Here comes Tally off to the side. Can't quite get the kill onto Luch, and Bombers closing in on this one, just focusing down the Nexus. And game 2 will go to the Bombers.
And cool, calm, and collected. They just brute force the bottom lane inhib. You're looking for it, like, when is the engage going to come? But Wilder ults forwards just to EQ back to the rest of the boys, but with 4 dragons with the Elder, they knew all they needed was to get it started. They needed an avenue into the base. And once they find it, that was going to be the team fight. Everything before that point looked like there was always like the tiniest bit of potential, but item spikes hit Elder Dragon, and yeah, that was just a big-ass front line that Dream could not get through.
Yeah, shut them out. And yeah, Bombers will get their first win against Order in this split. And now we actually have a full series in our hands. We were at least going to 4 games. And yeah, and now it's really anybody's series. Because it felt like, to me, it's like sometimes you just have that team or player or whatever just gets into your head and you're just unable to beat them, you know, no matter what. And it's like it really just takes that one game to upset the entire thing. And it's like, all right, you know, they can bleed, which means that we can beat them.
Nobody cares about a 90% record. Like, it's like undefeated. It's perfect or it's nothing, right? So, like, getting over that mental hurdle, like, absolutely huge, I think. Yeah, super impactful. And also, like, the style that they did it. That was a very Bombers style game. Nobody else is playing like Syndra bottom lane in the current meta, right? Like Luch X mid lane, it goes down there. In recent weeks, it was a lot of like the Yuumi Vladimir, it was a lot of the Cassio Thresh. This is just another mage to add to the champion pool there. They pick up the Syndra, flex the list. Draft was kind of all over the place. We were like looking at it like, oh, where is this Malphite going? What is this list doing? Are they second guessing it? And Order threw out the punch. Malphite, I don't think it worked that game. And yeah, we certainly have a series on our hands.
Yeah, saw the potential, didn't work out in the end. We are going to take a short break. When we get back, we'll be going into game 3 of this best of 5.
Okay, let's look at it again.
Yeah, Jake is ticking down. He's dead to right here. First blood goes over to the Syndra, and Dream last ulting up to the pit, down to 600 HP. There's the ultimate for Spooks, dodged away from by Bombers. They'll move towards this Braum right now, stunned down onto Dream, goes into his stopwatch, but he's just straight up dead. Swiffer still looking for this one potentially, you know, Tally's just turned up, Q over the wall. This is risky. They just lose Jake. Tally backing away as well. Ultimate doesn't do a whole lot. Now Spooks looking for this full disengage. Swiffer has already used the ultimate.
With the red buff looking like the answer, Jake.
Ooh, the flash. Spooks will follow up. Hits the ultimate. That's almost a single combo there. And the ultimate as well. Out from Swiffer. Q follow. That will be the kill into the mid lane. Now trying to disengage. Jake doing what he can, but flag dragged. Gets the heal out from the support, but he's still dead.
If everybody's attention. Mimic and Wilder are on the flank. That's an ulti, though.
Yeah, that is Zhonya's burn for that one. Dream kicked into the tower. Lucha's still dead. Power Unleashed on to Dream, but he's going to chase down Rogue underneath this tower. Buster shot. It's not execute enough damage. Mimic turning on towards Jake right here. Tosses out the Ice Shard, and it's going to be Wilder using the Cataclysm. Flag drag. Spooks is stuck in this one. Turned into a thrall here, courtesy of Lysandra. Tally flashing away, has the ultimate running. Ryoma jumps into this one. Dodges out.
They don't have the most consistent damage. Double Mountain certainly makes it significantly easier. Order are on vision here. Wilder.
Yes, they are. They'll go for the engage. Triple knockup into just combo town here for Bombers. 2 kills. Now chasing down to Jake as well. He just has to take this one. Rest of the team gets away here, and Bombers, the slow push forwards. This War Machine is slowly grinding down these base objectives down to 1 Nexus turret. And still Order have not gone in for their final engage. They have to do it now. Here comes Tally off to the side. Can't quite get the kill onto Luch, and Bombers closing in on this one, just focusing down the Nexus. And game 2 will go to the Bombers.